Welcome back, everybody. On to the Dolly, as we discussed in the last video. So I've already started on the Dolly. I've done the front one, and I'll show you that and how I did it. I bought 2-inch tube steel, and I'll show you that. But along the way, what it's done is it's shown me I had to change a couple things. And so I want to show you what I've changed and why I changed it. And it's basically all around the use of the lift while it's on the Dolly and be able to still put it up on the lift. So let me show you those changes. Once the Dolly's done, obviously I'll be able to get it in and out of the garage, which will be nice. The garage definitely needs to be cleaned, but I can spin it around if I need to, get it out of the garage, and then eventually up on the trailer to go up north. I do have other things to do. I just got to take the hardware, the handles off the doors, and I've got the wiring harness still running through the ceiling of the bus for the dome lights. So when I pull that, I want to have a lead cable, stainless steel little cable that I can leave in the bus when it gets dipped, which will then make it easier to pull the harness back through at that time. So let me show you what I've done, and we'll get going on the rear end. Okay. Let me show you what I've done so far. Like I had mentioned, the first thing I did was, this is on the front end, obviously. I built these plates here to match up to the front end, the front beam, and drilled them out to be utilized. And then, as I pan back up, the cat's in the way. So I just built this pretty simple Dolly. Came down off those plates, welded those, and then did the cross beam. And came out, so that's about, I don't know, 48 inches, 49 inches wide, and then obviously put the casters on, welded those in. And the whole design here, again, was to make this both wide enough to go around the lift and then tall enough to go over the lift. And so when I built the front one, I was good to go, and then I set it and I was leveling, but what I realized was there's the plates on the rear end that go where the spring plate covers go. The problem I have is that obviously it sits too far into the lift, and I would not be able to build it and use the lift once that Dolly was in. So what I've done, and I've already started, is I built, and the reason I built the front one was so that I could set it down and then pull the bus. I put a jack back here, and I pulled the bus backwards a little bit, so that what I did was I built this. I took a piece of just pure, I think it's a 3x2 L angle, and drilled out the holes at the frame horns where the tranny mounts. And then I'm just going to use this and do basically the same thing I did up front, and come straight down and then put the casters on. What this will allow me to do is obviously roll it in and out, but still utilize the lift like I am now. If I've got to lift it up, if for some reason I have to take one of the Dollies off to do something, or eventually up on the lift when I take the Dollies off completely. Now, really the next step is this Dolly is temporary to utilize to get it in and out, like I said, in and out of the garage. But the end all be all goal here is to build a rotisserie. So what I'm going to do is, once I get it dipped, I'm going to build a rotisserie, and that's what I will use those other plates, because I'll mount the rotisserie there. Again, what I'm going to have to do is, once I get to that point, I'm going to just have to see if I can clear everything to do the rotisserie. That way, when I'm doing all the metal and everything underneath the bus, I can get right to it. I can roll it over, and if you haven't seen one of the bus rotisseries, go on YouTube and type in VW bus split window rotisserie, and there's several of them, but they're just phenomenal. A little bit difficult to build, just some time consuming, not horribly difficult, but just time consuming. And what it's going to do is allow me to roll the bus and get to all of this rust that we've already looked at, get up underneath, and do that. So right now I'm going to move on and get this rear Dolly done. Again, I just tack welded everything in place, and I just got to do some grinding, clean up the metal. I'll weld it in place. I'll probably pull it off and shoot it with some black paint, make it look half decent, and then we're on. Then we're rolling. Okay, so I've got the L angle off the back from the frame horns. Unbolted that, and obviously the frame that I've got tack welded, ready to go. What I've done is I got my center line here. It's about 20 1/4 here, so I'm splitting the difference, and I've just marked out my lines so that I know where to grind. So I'm just going to get that ready. I'm going to grind the L angle here, so it's clean. I've already done the backs of the 2x2, and I've got that ready to go. Like I said, it's only tack welded. So once this is done, I'll mark everything out again, place it, and tack weld it on. Because of this is 1/2 inch stuff, so I've got some shims here, and I'm just going to set this up on the shim so it's level. I mean, it's a dolly. It's a rusty dolly for a bus, so trying to get it close, but it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. But so what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to grind it, tack weld it, and also I've got the wheels here for the rear. These are locking, so I can lock the bus down from moving, I guess. I got a 2 of each, so I'm going to grind the sides and then grind on the frame underneath as well where they go, so that they'll have a clean weld to them. So let me do my grinding and start tack welding and see what we can do. Okay, so here it is. Got it all painted. Yesterday afternoon I welded everything and took it outside and gave it a quick coat of paint. Looks pretty good. I actually did both sides to make it too heavy. So now all I'm gonna do is, like I mentioned, I'm gonna grind those down, and I'm just gonna weld these to the bottom. I gotta grind the paint off of this on both ends, and then I'll just do a quick weld, and it should be ready to go back on and see if the thing will hold itself up. So let's do that. Okay, here's the test. Let's see if this thing actually fits. Oh, so this is where you could use the hands. Get it better. All right, that one's in. These are fine threads, so you gotta be careful or I'll mess them up, which would be typical. I think I got it. Still don't have the right size socket, so which would be a lot easier. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna come back in when it's done. There it is, all attached. Now, the big test. Will it stand on its own? Pretty good. And for you, everybody who's detailed, that's not bad. It's about as good as it's gonna get. Awesome. Does it roll? Ooh, and it rolls. That's a big step. Not yet. Ready? Okay, you ready?
Now we go back in the same way. Back in.
Sure, back in a little bit. And then we'll go. Thank God it worked. Okay, the Dolly's done. Fantastic news. I can get it out of the garage and roll it around, and got a line of cars ready to come in. Got to do a little work on the TDI wagon, needs oil change and brakes and normal stuff. My son's car needs brakes and struts, and there's a line to get in. So it's nice to be able to get it out of the garage and clean up everything. The next step, as we mentioned, is finish taking the doors apart, hardware off, handles off, and then I'll just put them back on the bus and the hinges and zip tie them closed for the trip up to Oregon. And we'll do that, and that will be fun to go up and drop it off and check out that facility and the process of doing that. For everybody that's interested in seeing that, it's quite a process. So again, I appreciate you watching and following, and if you would like, subscribe, and appreciate again you watching. So follow me next, and we're off to Oregon.